Today I caught my wife of nearly 4 years cheating on me. My wife was going on a night out with one of her girlfriends. Her friend picked her up and they went into town. My wife forgot her key, so I needed to keep the back door unlocked. At 1 a.m. I sent her a text saying, "Don't be too late due to the door being open." No response. By 2:30 a.m. she still wasn't home. At this point I started calling her, but there was no answer. Fast forward to 8 a.m., 70 calls later, and still no sign of her. I was very worried at this point. Around 1 a.m., I had noticed a notification on her laptop, which she left on, but on the lock screen. It was a Facebook message from a random guy telling her what bar she was in. There were no further messages after that. This morning she finally texted me to say she was at her friend's house. I then checked the laptop again and saw an exchange of messages between her and her friend. I couldn't see what my wife was saying, just the friend's responses. The friend was asking if my wife was home yet and when she would go home. Then the friend asked, "What is your story? I'll make sure I stick to it." They then planned the story about why my wife had to take a taxi home, with her friend saying, "Don't worry. For all he knows, you are here asleep in my spare room." After a few further messages, the best message of the lot was sent. "So, how big was his dick then?" I photographed all the messages. When my wife returned home, I played it cool like I didn't know what had gone on. She walked around the house acting like nothing was wrong. Eventually, I confronted her and showed her the messages. At first, she swore blind she was at her friend's house and that I could call her friend to check. Of course, they had already gotten their story straight. When I showed her the last message, she admitted she was at this guy's house, slept in his bed, but nothing happened. I calmly left the house, with her yelling at me to leave. 12 hours later, I am not speaking with her or responding to messages. She started saying she did nothing wrong and that I was the one throwing it all away. Apparently, me leaving was proof I never loved her. Now we are at the emotional blackmail stage. She's claiming she is heartbroken, along with her son, not mine. He's from a previous relationship. I feel she is trying to make me feel bad about leaving, like I should go running back to her. She broke my trust, and for me that's the end. She still swears nothing happened between them. I don't have solid evidence they slept together, but the evidence strongly points to it. She wants to talk like adults and sort things out. In all honesty, I don't even think this is the first time she has done this now that I know she's capable of it. I have zero intention of going back to her. I don't know what to do with myself. Update 1 *. I've had some requests for an update. There isn't much more to report. I'm still away from the house and we still have not spoken. I hear she still insists nothing happened, but I don't believe her. I spoke to her son last night. He was distraught. I spoke to him today and he is doing better. I also texted his dad to let him know. He sent a nice response thanking me for being in the kid's life and for everything I've done for him. Tomorrow I'll start looking for a solicitor. Update 2 *. After work, I needed to go to some shops at a local shopping park. When I returned, my wife was there in her friend's car, blocking my driver's door. She had the spare key and wouldn't allow me entry. After giving plenty of warnings, I called 101, police non-emergency line on her mother's advice, to report the incident. A few minutes later, the friend moved the car. My wife jumped in and wouldn't allow me entry. She started the engine, rolled the window down and shouted, "Nobody upsets my son. This is your fault. I'm going to smash the car up." She then drove off. I called 999 to report the car. It's still on finance in my name, registered in my name. An officer arrived and, after speaking with me, said it was a civil matter and no crime was committed. Her mother called to say my wife had returned home without the car. The officer went to question her, but she refused to say where it was. Nothing was done. I went out with a friend to search for the car. We heard a rumor it was in a car park in a small village 20 miles away. We drove there, but it wasn't. However, we spoke to a policeman from a different force who put out an ANPR check. The car was spotted 20 minutes after being taken, just outside our town. He said the other police force should have treated this as theft, and she should have been arrested. I didn't find the car, but tomorrow I'll speak with the police again to push further on the matter. Final update *. I had many supportive messages, so I'm sorry I didn't respond to all of them. After everything happened, I struggled. Depression set in and steadily got worse. My ex recognized my weakness and tried to lure me back to her. This nearly worked and I stupidly ended up sleeping with her a while back. That was a huge mistake which I regretted almost immediately. Knowing I was weak made my depression spiral further. I went to the doctor who diagnosed me with low mood depression. I started antidepressants which have helped massively. I've managed to get my head straight and started divorce proceedings. My ex is seeking spousal maintenance from me. She's trying to get me to agree to payments without a court order. I'm refusing this based on my lawyer's advice and insisting it goes through a court for my protection. Life is good now. I'm still living with my parents but looking for a place to move into. For the first time in a long time, I feel happy again. Everything is falling into place. I've met someone new and it feels exactly how a relationship should be. She's kind, caring, loving, and supportive. We share the same goals and it just feels right. Thank you to everyone who supported me. Your messages helped me through one of the darkest periods of my life. While there's more stress ahead, I know I can deal with it, especially with the amazing woman now by my side. Thank you all.